When you get triggered emotionally, something comes in, catches you off guard, emotionally kind of hits you, and you feel a rush of emotion, do you know how to calm your nervous system to be able to lower the energy in the amygdala, the limbic part of your brain, and return energetic resources to your prefrontal cortex? I don't even know if you're thinking about that when you get triggered, but wouldn't it be cool if you could find a way to return more energy to make better decisions in the moment? Well, it turns out that there is a process of noticing and naming your emotions the moment that the stress hits that tends to have that ability to do so. This was researched in a research study recently at the University of California in Los Angeles, UCLA, and it involved a study that involve people with a fear of spiders. So if you have a fear of spiders, this might actually generate a little bit more anxiety than for others of us. Basically, this was a study that involved a large tarantula, and it was placed in an outdoor open container, and subjects that were part of the research, participants in the research, were invited to gather around the tarantula and get as close as possible, even reaching out to touch the spider. Now, if you have a fear of spiders, that doesn't sound so attractive. Even if you don't have a fear of spiders, I'm not sure reaching out and petting a tarantula is on my top 10 list of things that I want to do, right? So what they were doing is sort of assessing, as these participants were getting closer to the tarantula, what their level of fear or anxiety was, right? And there were certain ways of measuring biometrics, like of measures of the stress induced within our nervous system. Some things like palms, sweating, right, as an indicator of increased anxiety, as well as other measures. And after looking at how well people were able to get close to the spider, they were also invited indoors and divided into 4 groups. Again, asking to get closer to the spider, this time in an indoor, container, so that we don't allow the tarantula to run around UCLA. And they were divided into 4 categories. The first category of participants was asked to actually name and describe what they were experiencing and label it. So for example, as I get closer to the spider, I am feeling very stressed out right now, getting closer to the spider. I am unhappy that I am part of this study. I am curious why I ever signed up for this darn thing. And I am resentful that I said yes, or whatever the emotion is, right? So I call that notice and name. And Dr. Carla Stanton and I, in our mini course on accelerating resilience the moment that stress hits, we call this technique noticing and naming the emotions as it's hitting you. So that was group number 1. Group number 2 of participants were also asked to get closer to this spider and say something different about the spider that reframed or allowed them to think about the spider in less threatening terms. So this would be your quintessentially positive thinking group. Like, this spider cannot hurt me. I am not afraid of spiders. The spider is removed and is not any way going to harm me. There is no spider, whatever the thinking would be, that would allow us to reframe our experience. The third group was instructed to say something completely irrelevant, like, there are pink elephants dancing around the spider. I don't know, I'm making stuff up. Rainbows and, whatever is I enjoy drinking tea. Anything irrelevant that's not related to what their experience is in the moment with the spider. And then the fourth group was not instructed anything. They were just kind of, allowed to get closer to the spider. And then these participants came back and they measured them again in these 4 different groups. Turns out the group that was instructed, that first group that was instructed to identify what they were experiencing and then label the emotion, had significantly greater success in measures of keeping their nervous system calm under this stress, as measured by, sweaty palms and other biometrics. Now, this means that they were able to lower the volume in the amygdala, right, where emotions are produced, and be able to move through that as information is traveling up the spinal cord to get to the prefrontal cortex more effectively. What that means is during times of stress and strain. If we can do that, if we can observe what we're experiencing and name or label the emotion as it's hitting, we can take charge of our nervous systems and lower that volume and return energetic resources to more effective, clear decision making that we can access in the prefrontal cortex. Again, Dr. Carla Stanton and I call this the notice and name technique, and we teach this as part of our Reset and Rewire online mini course. For you, first step today would be to try it out. Whatever you get triggered on today, tomorrow, this week, see if in the moment you can first of all slow your breathing, notice what's going on in your physiology, and then name and label the emotion that you're experiencing, even in the most challenging circumstances. And I've gone through a couple of them recently, and I was practicing this technique myself. It can really have some benefit in the moment. I invite you to try it out and let me know how it goes.